How's everybody doing tonight? All right. You're in for a hell of a show. Thank you for coming out on a Saturday night for spoken word poetry. You are at the Loft Literary Center and Open Book. My name is Bao Phi, Program Director here at the Loft Literary Center. And this is the 11th year of Equilibrium, serving artists and audiences of color in the art of spoken word. Can we make some noise for that? All right. So let's give it up for DJ Knock over there in the shadows. Always working hard to provide us with good ambiance. Josh Darude in the booth doing lights and sound. Thank you, Josh. The good folks at Browntown for videotaping this, so when those of you gotta watch it on YouTube or whatever and sing along, that's because of Browntown, yo. So, and thanks to everybody at the Loft, especially Asher, our events coordinator, and the Loft volunteers who work for free to make this all run smoothly. Photographer Adam Min. If you hear that click, 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 don't worry, it's official. It's all good. It's all good. It's all planned. So the Loft Literary Center, we're our writing organization. We're the nation's largest and most comprehensive nonprofit literary arts center. We provide mentorships, classes, grants, awards, events like this. If you want to check out what we do, go to www.loft.org. One very exciting thing that I'm going to share with you is the Loft Mentor Series guidelines are up for 2014, 2015. Vanessa Ramos, the new program manager, is here. She's in charge of the Mentor Series. She's doing a great, great job. The Mentor Series is a wonderful opportunity where 12 Minnesota artists get selected to work with national and local artists on their writing. The mentors this year are Rue Freeman in fiction, Diego Vasquez Jr. in fiction, Danny Shapiro in nonfiction, Kao Kalia Yang in nonfiction, Matt Rasmussen in poetry, and Patricia Smith in poetry. This is an amazing opportunity, writers, and if you get in, it's free. So I don't know what you're waiting for. Apply for that, and I believe these are out on the Loft table if you want more information, okay? So that's one exciting thing, and we'll keep talking about exciting things as the night rolls on. Very quickly, the Loft in Equilibrium, now we're doing something a little bit different. We offer Immersion spoken word fellowships, grants up to $7,000 for spoken word artists of color and indigenous artists from around the country to create community immersion projects of their own design. And actually we're here because Vicki Grise is one of the winners, and this is her showcase, and we co-curated the show together. But also, tonight happens also to be the orientation for next year's winners, and two of the winners are here. Christy Nami Erickson from Juneau, Alaska. Stand up. She used to intern for me, which is like one of the most useless experiences in the world. And like now she's like this rock star. It's amazing. And also another winner is here, Minneapolis' own Nimo Farah. And on May 3rd, the last of these cycles winners, Alex Jacobs and Janet Rogers will be here doing a spoken word show about Mohawk culture, and that should be really dope too. So that's a little bit of what we do. We'll get into more of it, but right now I feel like we should just go into some poetry, don't you think? Right? Because that's what we're here for. All right, so first off, we have a quick surprise guest who's going to do a quick poem because when I told everybody the deal, Knock actually was like, yo, is Christy gonna do a poem or what, man? And I was like, well, I don't think so. But then everybody was like, what the fuck are you thinking? Of course you should ask her to do a poem. Came from Juneau, Alaska, on like a dog sled and shit. Like, you gotta get Christy to do a poem. And so I'm really happy. Christy is an amazing poet, as many of us know, and I'm really glad she agreed to share a quick piece with us tonight. So please give it up for Christy Nami Erickson.
I love it. That's not the first time you played that song when I've joined the stage here, huh? That's my song, I think. Every time now. Thank you so much. What's up, Minneapolis? Yeah. For the record, being Bao's intern was one of the most useful experiences, okay, of my life. I highly recommend it. Don't you still have interns? You don't got interns? It's a highly selective process now after me. It's probably like, oh, I'm never going to go for any Asian who emails me again. But yeah, it was a great time. I was walking past earlier, and I remembered sitting there at those tables, like, before we had all the volunteers, like, putting the chairs out and all that jazz. So anyway, thank you so much for being here. I'm so blessed to be standing up here. Each time I stand up here, I just can't believe it, because I remember what it was like to sit back there and be so moved and so excited and so engaged with whatever was going on up here on this side of the mic. So I'm continually surprised every time you ask me to do it. So thank you so much. I really appreciate it. So I'll just do one very quick poem, as was reiterated. This poem is based off of this old lady was telling me whenever she goes to the grocery store, she's like, they did all this for me? Those apples? For me? Somebody planted them, and I just gotta buy them, and then someone will take my money, you know? And she was just like talking about kind of like her gratitude for life and gratitude for the way all the world works together. And I've just been thinking about that ever since she said that. You know, I go to get coffee in the morning at work, and I'm like, oh, someone made coffee for me? You know, but anyway, so I think, you know, especially probably a lot of you out there are organizers or artists in your own right, and, you know, the hustle is hard, it's hard work. It's joyful, but it's tough, you know, and so I think about that a lot, like with my own life and the work that I'm doing and how to stay grateful. So anyway. I can't wait to be an old Asian American woman. I'm gonna only buy clothes that actually look good on me, and I'm gonna wear high heels to the supermarket. I'm gonna carry hot sauce in my purse and put it on my grandchildren's grilled cheese and tell them it's good for them. I won't let young people put my photo on the Facebook. I'm gonna let anyone who offers carry all my groceries, and I'm gonna leave unsolicited advice on my receipts and consider them big tips. Not that I do that now. Just like, it's like when I'm older, right? When it is too dark for a 1:30 in the afternoon, I'm gonna legitimately cancel all my obligations. I'm gonna pour boiling water over a humble bag of tea and thank the gentleman who picked every sweet leaf. Thank the driver who carried boxes of them across the country, over yellow fields and bad radio stations. Thank the store boy who held each one for an eighth of a moment, gave them a number, and placed them on a bright shelf. Thank the table for holding my scribbles, my spices, my sight above the ground. Thank my nose, all the foods and flowers and men it still holds on to. Thank my wrinkled fingers, my extension cord hands, my unoiled wrists for infinite sons of labor. Every eye they dot, every chin they've held, every fist they've ever been locked in. I'll lift a fresh cup to my aged lips and I'll fold a kiss into it. Just as I've kissed sentences and suns and steel blades all across Asian America, and I'll do nothing else but sit in my favorite chair and let all my migrant muscles rest along every shaded Korean bone in my body, and I will think only lovely things. I will be old enough then to know how to take care in a revolution. Thank you very much, Minneapolis.
One more time for Christy Nami Erickson. Very cool. And Christy's project actually is doing, and it's funny, these connections, right? Because Nimo and Christy first met when Christy did a workshop and performance here at the Loft. And now your project is going to 5 cities and doing stuff around like adoptee community, right? And part of the Immersion Fellowship is Christy will be back next year for EQ. So definitely check out our website and come back for that because it's going to be dope. All right. So next up, we have Nimo Farah. She uses language to express things she finds too confusing. Part of her current undertaking is to develop her skills as an orator while blending Somali and English. Nimo also came through our Inroads program pretty recently, which is awesome. And we were talking today, and she had this phrase that just blew me away. Like, I believe in creating a space where the magic can happen. And it was just really wonderful to hear that. And I feel like Nimo is definitely a person who makes magic happen. So please welcome to the stage, Nimo Farah.
Hi. How are you guys doing? Did I hear Yes. Next time somebody asks me how I'm doing, I'm like, So I'm grateful for a couple of things, and one of them is spring and the sun right now. I'm so happy because the sun is out longer. And these poems that I wanted to share are actually they're just like my winter reflections. They're very short poems, and I just like short poems, right? And I thought I was weird for just liking really short poems until I discovered this book. And it's kind of like my current Bible. It's written by this woman named Nayyirah Waheed. Anybody familiar with her? Oh, well, good. I'm glad I brought it. It's called Salt. And so it's like very short poems that are full of wisdom and like beauty and everything, and they're like really accessible. And so, it's been my inspiration lately. So I'm gonna just share some short poems that were my winter reflections. This first one's called Zoo Cat. I am a cat and I want to dig my claws into life. I have also many words that bite, but the only thing I have been biting is my tongue. Citizenship. I'm a countryless child. No nation is fit to claim me, but I have claimed many nations. That makes me a privileged refugee. Death is relative. I died last night, but was born again this morning. I started scraping once more. I spent all day scraping, trying to find substance, looking for help. Someone told me to meditate, but my soul is a bottomless ocean, and no one has taught me how to swim, so I die at the end of each day. Switching. Today, I switch codes many times through clothing, through words, hijab on, hijab off, hair out, hair covered. I decolonize myself by speaking Afkahoyo. Remembered my Ayeyo, who once told me, it's Aruri, gather yourself. Myself is multiplying, so I gather many selves. All right, I'm just gonna share one more poem, and this, it's also kind of an invitation. I recently made a friend who's deaf, and this is a very new experience for me. And so it also just made me, I'm thinking a lot about ability. And so good thing is I have another friend who knows sign language. And so it allowed, the experience is allowing me to just speak more Somali with individuals that don't speak Somali. And so, and as that was happening, I got invited to do this project at the Bryan Lake Bowl called 9x12 this Wednesday. And it's called Read My Lips, and we're just playing with words and language and things like that. And so I've been invited to do the words for this dance choreography, and I thought I'd just share that with you, and if you can come this Wednesday, it would be neat. All right, reading lips. I was once filled with pain, now my heart is a home for your poetry. Sometimes your words choke me, other times your lips part and your expressions caress my soul. Sometimes I choke on my own words, building up high walls, pushing myself into a cave. But you find words, install a window, a door. Your words take me away, bring me back over and over again. They drive me crazy, keep me sane, make me dance, even though I don't know how to dance. Remind me of my name, I am a home for your words. Sometimes I read your lips and your truth echoes. Underneath my skin, you speak and the sound resonates. Your voice takes me on a journey. I go looking for my own voice. I look for my breath, inhaling and exhaling, learning to stand tall from the tips of my toe to my hips. My curves go round and round, traveling across continents, even though I'm not leaving Minneapolis. When you stretch your tongue and you roll your R's, you remind me of who is in this skin, a queen, a king, and everything in between. I honor you with a lesson, teach you how to pronounce my own name. Use your throat. Speak to me in my mother tongue. Endear me with the following words. Ga'aliso ma'anto. Quruhlay, say my name the right way. Nimo Farah. Trace my ancestry. Hussein, Farah, Ali, Mahmoud, Hassan, Hussein, Abubakar, Muhammad, Mumin, Adan, Fiqi, Ali, Musa. This is how we build bridges. Thank you.
One more time for Nimo. Also, as an Immersion winner, she will be, her project will be creating places where magic can happen for the Somali community here in Minnesota. And also, like Christy, she'll be back next year as a headliner for EQ. So again, definitely come back to us and join our email list, and we'll let you know about the next shows. Speaking of some next shows, a week from Friday, Friday has passed. This Friday, this upcoming Friday, David Mura, who is one of the nation's best writers and poets, is releasing his new book of poems, The Last Incantations. And it really is a wonderful book. Come and check it out. It's here at the Loft at 7 o'clock this Friday. And along with David, who is reading, there will also be readings by Alex Pate, Ed Buckley, who's here tonight, Balfi, and Juliana Pegues. So it's a really great lineup, except for that one guy. And it's free, so check it out, okay? Friday, March 28th, 7 p.m. David Mura, Last Incantations. All right. Next up, we have Emmanuel Ortiz. He is a Chicano, Puerto Rican, Irish-American writer and community organizer. He doesn't want to carry on about where he went to school, what degree he got, what he has published, where he has traveled and performed, or with whom, or what accolades, awards, or funding he has received. The fuck kind of bio is that, son? Anyway, I'm kidding, okay. He just believes that telling our stories is an important part of radical social change. And of course, most of us know Emmanuel and we love him. He's a longtime organizer, a great poet. We're really lucky to have him back here to perform and read some poems tonight. So please welcome Emmanuel Ortiz.
Thank you all for coming out tonight. Thank you to Bao, to Equilibrium, to the Loft for 11, 12 years of really bringing art and community together. It's a beautiful, rare, and precious space, so I hope we continue to support EQ. And thanks to the other poets that are up here tonight. I'm inspired by all of you as well. When I was 23, a friend of mine asked if I would be a sort of big brother for a young a youngster whose family was somehow caught up in domestic violence. I was really barely out of my own childhood, but I had agreed to do it, and so I was connected with a young 16-year-old man named Mikey, who was from Colombia, and he was his mother's only living relative. And at the time I was unemployed and didn't have a whole lot of money, and I hung out with him for a while, but after a while I couldn't. He lived out in the suburbs and it was hard to get to. I was busy doing my own thing, and I just sort of lost track of Mikey. Some years later, maybe 6 years later, working at a bookstore, his mom came in, not knowing that I worked there. And when she saw me, she burst into tears and almost collapsed, literally. And it turns out that Mikey had been killed in an execution-style gang shooting just days before. It was Christmas time. And that story I've always carried that story with me. And never knew what to do with it. But I knew that I was responsible in some way to tell that story. And so this is an attempt to do so in a way. It's called The Cost of a Bullet. How much did it cost, that 9mm bullet you put through young Mikey's skull on a night just before Christmas? The bullet that ended his life and yours, for that matter. How much that bullet, that beef, that gun, that misled rage, that misplaced manhood, that mother's broken heart, how much that bullet, that smoke, that run, that siren, that surgeon, that silence, that stun, how much that bullet, a death certificate, a starched suit, a casket, a floral arrangement, a day's wages docked, a funeral, a burial. How much that bullet, a mortician to magic the skull and skin into an illusion of normalcy, as if we wouldn't see the sunken exit wound the size of a chicken pot pie, at his open casket wake, the tattoos touched up to not quite conceal the gang affiliation, the loyalty to turf, color, numbers. How much that tattoo, that brown pride that spills red, how much that bullet, that court case, that prosecutor, public defender, prison sentence without parole, how much that bullet, that empty seat in school, that beatdown, that shank, that scar, that never again an intimate touch, that hijo that never knew his papi, the next to find family in a color, a number, a numbness, a 9. How much that bullet, that price of his mother's one-way ticket back to Colombia, the country of their blood, to bury her only relative in the land that harbors the man whose violence forced her to flee, to take refuge in America, to escape the violence that she feared would consume her son as his father. How much the price of that irony, of fleeing the violence of one hand to fall victim to the violence of another, how much that cost? How much that bullet, that gun, that rage, that silence, that siren, that song unsung, that sorrow? How much that bullet, that life unlived, the cost of the next 60 years of wages unearned in a factory, a dance hall DJ's turntables unspun, a football team without its center midfielder? How much that bullet? How many the lovers unloved, the children unraised, the two mothers undone in grief, clutching rosaries of a Messiah who too died of a betrayal? How much that bullet, that dream, that how much that bullet? More than the 40 cents at Walmart, boxes of 50, much less than the caskets, the prison, the corazones that cannot survive the exit wounds that their sons have suffered from ripping out their own hearts. Thank you.
One more time for Emmanuel. Thank you for reminding us that poems and art, poems are not just art, but are also the way some of us have history and remember important things. Thank you for that. All right, how are you all doing? Good still? All right. Another thing that we're doing, how many of you have heard of Right Bloody Press? Yeah, cool. All right. Right Bloody Press is an independent press that publishes a lot of slam poets, and a couple of the best live here in town. And we're going to do a special Right Bloody showcase next month, where 4 Right Bloody artists are going to perform and sell their books. It's going to be a really good time. The artists who will be here will be Carrie Jackson, Sierra DeMolder, and both of those are multiple National Poetry Slam champions who live here in town. And along with them, there will be Miles Walzer and Franny Choi. And Franny Choi will be here special just by coincidence. Her book just got released. And these are some really amazing poets. Come check it out. The door is free so that you can spend money on their books. So that's Wednesday, April 23rd, 7 p.m. All right? So we're moving on. Can we give a hand to everybody who read poems and opened for us tonight? Thank you. I always say this, and I'll always say it. We have a really beautiful community here of community activists and poets. Please continue to support them. Join their Facebook page and whatnot. Like their shit. You know, it's so easy. You can at least do that shit, right? But also, like, buy their stuff, go to their shows, get involved with them. I'm proud to be from this place, and I hope you all are too. Next up is Florinda Bryant. She is an interdisciplinary artist, director, and educator. She has been amazing audiences with her eclectic performances since she was 5. I don't even remember what I was doing at 5. I was like hiding under the table and shit. Her one-woman show, Half Breed Southern Fried Check 1, was produced as part of the Performing Blackness series at UT and was directed by Lori Carlos, who all of you should know. She's amazing. Lori Carlos is amazing. As a facilitator and arts educator, she's worked with at-risk communities, young men and women, using the performing arts as a social justice tool for empowerment and change for over 18 years. And when I picked up Florinda, she's like, you know, she's Texas, so she's like, yeah, I don't know about your guys' weather, man. But let's show her a very Minnesota warm welcome. So make some noise for Florinda Bryant.
Hey, y'all. How's it going? Good? Great. I don't usually do too much explaining, so we just finna go. I stand on the porch, praying for salvation, a poem, a song, permission, shit, a roach, a half-finished beer, Lone Star. I'm from Texas, it's expected. On the porch, the pulpit, altar of my kind. Early mornings, days, nights, on the porch, the pulpit / altar of my kind. See, my kind, we know some dreams ain't even worth having, and science teaches us that the closest star is the sun, and we certainly aren't ones we answer to, bitch. If you say it right, we'll even salute. Damn near kill ourselves trying to laugh at our situations on the porch, outside of homes not necessarily of our choosing. In front of streets we may not necessarily walk down, streets that could lead to another today. We keep guard afraid. Keep guard afraid, so we sweep the porch, lined by empty saint candles covered in dust, comb hair on the porch, plants from Mimi's funeral with the faded satin ribbon with the gold leathers reading, "You have our sympathy," learn harmonies on the porch. One of Daddy's ashtrays, a family heirloom, with half-smoked cigarettes, dance on the porch, pint of wild turkey hidden underneath the empty pot, gossip, her story, lessons on the porch, a turtle shell, half-burned sage stick. I stand on the porch in the wind, wave at my neighbors and watch, try to listen. Old stories that were never told scream at me. They rise from beneath me through my feet on the porch. Is it still a story if it's never told? Sometimes I hide in my room underneath blankets in 101 heat, rubbing coconut oil on my skin 3 times a day. It's my ritual so I won't crack. As I stretch, I am always being pulled. I hear birds singing in the nighttime. I hear the wind from beneath my blanket in 101 heat. I am always being pulled, resisting my skin stretching till I am back standing on the porch, praying for salvation, a poem, a song, permission. Shit, a roach, a half-finished beer, Lone Star, I'm from Texas, it's expected. I stand on the porch, the pulpit/altar of my kind, early mornings, days, nights on the porch, half holy. I live among ghosts, the poetry in my head, words in my mouth, a purgatory for language, and I love yous and even I hate yous held right here. It affects how you breathe. The act of just holding, keeping guard, afraid, creates a stop in my animation with truth and words and love and hate stuck in the back of my throat. I pick pieces of the truth from between my teeth and I swallow it. I pull pieces of the gospel from the cull pressed between gum and lip, hold it under my tongue. I regurgitate truth told to me before I was born and shoot it like tequila with lime and salt, hold it all deep in my belly. Among the poor food choices I eat too much of, my bowels are stuffed full of this truth becomes the shit I am full of. I stand on the porch waiting no more. So some of y'all ain't gonna like this. Say it. Some of y'all ain't gonna like this. Say it. Some of y'all ain't going to like this. Say it. I mean, I just want you to know what I know that is etched into my brain and my heart, what will become an ancient text soon enough. It goes a little something like this. It was the second to the last time I had an abortion that I noticed that there were 2 other chicks there I remembered from the time before. She saw me, saw she, and she decided to take a smoke break between the steps and the steps towards our right. We were young-ish and colored and poor, not just financially. So we bonded in the way women do, agreeing we had all fucked up. How many of you have? This is my 4th. And you? 3rd. Yeah, me too. Now, I'm not saying, I'm just saying, in a morphine-induced haze, I was walked out of that clinic and I heard a nurse say, oh, she'll be back, and she was right. There is an unnamed illness, a psychosis unyet documented, affecting me and my sistren. Its symptoms include excessive numbers of abortions. No one wants to talk about the long-term effects of having made the hardest decision of your life again. No one talks you through what it will be like when you keep hearing infants crying in the night, uteruses scarred, hearts heavy. No one warns of the depression that leads to behaviors that leads to the opportunities for fucking up again. See, how can you pop ecstasy regularly, but you can't pop birth control? Now, I'm not saying, I'm just saying that there is a unnamed illness, a psychosis not yet documented, affecting me and my sistren. Symptoms include drinking, working, smoking, not working, drugging, fucking, not giving a fuck, not living, not being, modes of survival. We move through mud, getting stuck in the pattern of fighting ourselves. So I have to ask the question, and it bears repeating. Just ask a young woman, a friend, I dare you, how many? It repeats, and I'm not saying. I'm just saying, I'm suspicious of the allies that will meet me at the Capitol to reclaim the rights of my uterus, but won't meet me there to fight for the rights of my son's education, who won't meet me there to fight for the rights of our men that are incarcerated. I'm suspicious there's something at the root, something we must talk about, that we must talk about. I'm just saying. Hello, ladies, welcome back. I hope everyone had a good rest. Today, we're going to review for tomorrow's test. This week, we're gonna be covering the chapter on cover-ups. You ladies are gonna be responsible for giving me at least 2 effective ways to hide a black eye. I see some of you ladies already know. I won't give you the answer, but for those of you who don't know, maybe look to the girl next to you. And ladies, remember, when in doubt, you fell down the stairs, right? Right. On some happily ever after shit. Somehow we flipped the script and cutting for sisters changes to do-rags and malt liquor. This dream's reality is split between what we create and what is witnessed. See, Papa was a rolling stone, a suave, cool-ass nigga, kind of like, oh, shit. Ben, Steven, Daddy, Jamie, Brian, Tony, Daddy. The past that is this unpresent present. Mama held it down, 9 to 5, had 2 shorties, got into hand fights, she was dope. It was faded watercolor living. It was the good old days gone bad when the world turned printed images on the walls of self. What I became ain't really me, just some happily ever after shit. Staying dedicated, cause I said it true. And this time, this brother dug me, would hold my body in strong hands, hands that sold the crack rock. Hands that sold the crack rock black. Black bleeding purple, purple all over my brown, and hands that sold the crack rock. Somehow I swallowed a piece of my smile, laying in ice naked. Hand that sold the crack rock. And somewhere between the weed, the fry, the codeine, and red slice, ice pack on my thigh above a shoe print, free advertising for Nike, I couldn't remember how I'd gotten here, only that I wanted to love. Same shit, different day. Look in the mirror. It's the background that changes, shapes that won't stand still. I was raised to love a man. I was raised to give my all. This past that is the unpresent present. And how much of that is true? I mean, what can I say about the truth other than it's been trying to kill me? This thing, this happily ever after shit, the feeling of sacrificing enough so it'll work out. The price is hell. Down home blues, down home blues. All she wanted to hear was them down home blues all night long. Girl, what you know about a juke joint? My own mama asked me with a straight face. It was my teenage years and she didn't recognize me as the child that she raised. What I know about a juke joint? What do I know about a juke joint? Besides, the parties don't stop till 6 in the morning, where the floorboards creak if you're lucky enough to even have a floor. What you know about a juke joint? Child, what I don't know about the juke joint. Stirred in my blood, the blues and E&J since I was a little bitty old thing. We had Boonies, the Shack, Miss Betty's, who had the best barbecue and peach cobbler, even that one spot up on the highway across from my auntie's house. Now, my Aunt Anna was a God-fearing woman, yes indeed, till she drank too much. And then most folks feared her more than God. See, she had this knife. Ugh, I better not tell that story. Anyway, Aunt Anna got saved later on in life, and we tried to forget her past. Besides, they dropped them charges on her from her 3rd husband, and she said them niggas couldn't prove shit. It was Miss Betty's place where my daddy would buy me and my sister chips and a soda, 1 pickle, because my sister didn't eat none. It would only take a minute for somebody to be like, Lil Joe's gal, come on over here and sing me that song. There was the Bayou City Club, the Doghouse, that one place that used to be a church The beer was kept in the baptismal tub, and they sold the liquor in what used to be the choir stand, and my Aunt Anna stood at the pulpit. Now, whether she was preaching at all, the sinning or backsliding, it was definitely the best spot in the house. We had Uncle Chester's, Shorty's, the front door, Aunt Candy Babies. Flo, girl, come here, let me tell you something. One day it's gonna be a man, and he gonna make you live and kill you at once. Don't you fall for that shit now. Yes, ma'am. Shit, you just keep on singing the blues. Now go on over there and tell your daddy to send me a beer. Shit, I wonder how I didn't know about the juke joints. Been in and out of them all my life. It was fun watching grown folks doing their thing. Besides, at that time, I thought being grown meant drinking and cussing at Aunt Shugs on the hill. Didn't take long to figure out that being grown was having the blues. The women would sit and testify. I ain't lying, this motherfucker is getting cut. He come home smelling like that bitch again. Sister girl, hush your mouth. You ain't gonna do nothing to nobody. I ain't lying. Don't nobody play sister girl like a fool. And I absorbed all of it. The cussing, the shouting, the keeping secrets, the blues welled up inside of me till there was no other way to let it out. What, no other way to be blue. My mother did her best to raise a good girl, well-mannered, discreet. All of my mom's friends were called Mr. or Miss such and such. I grew up thinking that Miss Freddie Mae was my mama's friend. When my mom would work, sometimes my dad would leave me and my sisters with her. My sisters hated her. I liked her because she would take me to whatever juke joint my daddy was in. I didn't know that I was her excuse to run behind my daddy. What you know about the blues? The blues is singing for your daddy and his hoes. The blues is singing for your mama when daddy was gone again. The blues, singing for your daddy when mama was finally gone from him. Thank y'all.
Can we make some more noise for Florinda Bryant, please? Really great, thank you. Welcome back to Minneapolis. It's been a long time since you performed here. Hopefully it won't be the last. Hopefully we'll get you back. That was great, thank you so much. All right, so are we almost ready for our last artist for tonight? Doing good? Good. All right, so last up is our Immersion winner and co-curator of tonight's show. Vicki Grise writes plays that are set in bars without windows, barrio rooftops, and lesbian bedrooms. Her play Blue was the winner of the 2010 Yale Drama Series Award and was recently published by Yale University Press. Among her many awards are the Playwrights Project, or Playwright Center's Jerome Fellowship, and the Loft Literary Center's Spoken Word Immersion Fellowship. As a curator, artist, and activist, she has facilitated organizing efforts among women, immigrant, Chicano, working class, and queer youth. Virginia has taught writing for performance at the university level as a public school teacher in community centers and in the juvenile correction system. She holds an MFA in writing for performance from California Institute of Arts and currently lives in Brooklyn, New York. So she is very busy, she's very accomplished, and we're really lucky to have her here. So please, let's make a lot of noise for Vicki Grise.
Confession to make. I'm terrified of microphones. It's true. There you go. I'm a poet turned theater artist, a theater artist who still believes that poetry has power and that there's nothing to do with it but to speak it. And so the pieces that I'm going to read tonight are three plays, and I'm going to read them in succession back to back to back. One excerpts from three plays. One is called Go Away, one is called Making Myth, and the last one will be Blue. And I don't want to say anything about them other than there's a lot of characters up in there, and I will just read my voice. My skin is changing. I keep my black market estrogen in a clear plastic baggie so that the mice won't eat it. They leave their shit in the frying pan. They made a nest behind the refrigerator. I think they live inside the stove, trapped. I hear them at night trying to escape. 1,000 postcards in a lawn chair rescued from the trash. Close that window. I'm scared of men. With the windows closed, there's just silence. I'm scared of the men on the street in this neighborhood. I'm scared of the children on the playground, the ones that run up and down the stairs in this building, up and down the stairs, up and down the stairs, up and down the stairs. They have too much life and not enough space to live it. I think about it sometimes, leaving the silence, getting a job like she says I have to in order to live here in New York City. Her friends tell me about jobs, but they are men too, scary queens and communists. I think about leaving my room and going someplace other than the library and the trash bins, but there's people everywhere, constantly at all times, in your face, bombardment. Always there's a pulsing rhythm, it's dizzying, never a rest, a breath. The streets tire you out, navigating through people. You have to make your path, be prepared to get out of the way. Go away. I just got tired is all. The city will do that to you, you know. I tried to leave, to get away, but you can't escape the skin you're in even when it's changing. I don't recommend coming here unless you live in a dream atop a Manhattan high-rise. What's your name? Loca Loca. Where do you live? I live in Bed-Stuy. You do know it would be cheaper for you just to walk to the hospital, but I'm scared to go outside. It's just around the corner. Are you sure you need an ambulance? Yes, please. Do you have health insurance? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I count things when I'm scared. It's a trick I came up with when I was little. Gets my mind off of what's bothering me, helps me with the ansia. I'm scared of hospitals. Hospitals are where people go to die. A psych ward is a lot like prison, is a lot like New York City. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. As an artist, my biggest fear is going crazy. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. A recipe for rattlesnake. Take a knife and cut just 4 inches behind the head. Hang him upside down. Now you're going to take that knife and cut him lengthways, down the belly, starting at the head. Split him right in 2. Pull the skin off, away from the meat, see? Start at the head and just pull it right off. Pull the skin right off the body. You got to separate the skin from the meat, see? Once you've done that, once you've got the skin pulled back, you're going to reach inside and take out all the innards. It's messy, you know. Then what you do is cut him down. Cut him down from the tree you tied him in. Put him in cold water with just a dash of salt. Be careful, because the body will move. Even after you cut him up like that, the body still moves, headless and everything. He don't know. He don't know he's dead. He just don't know yet. So he will try to escape out the pot you're trying to cook him in. Once the body has stopped its crawling, you take him out of the water and chop him up in 3 to 4 inch pieces. Be sure you throw away the head and don't you go touching it with your hands. Now you're going to put all that to the side and get your skillet. 6 slices of bacon, ham cooked, 2 cups of milk, 1 tablespoon of coffee brewed, ½ cup of flour, salt and pepper, Tabasco sauce, and biscuits. And your cast iron skillet, what you're gonna do first is fry the bacon. You take out the bacon and save the drippings. Now you're gonna take that rattlesnake, flour it, and fry it until it's brown, golden brown, cooking it in the drippings, see? When you're done cooking it, be sure you scrape off the bottom real good, getting all the brown stuck pieces. Then you're gonna cook all the rest of the ingredients, put the ham and the milk and the coffee together to make a gravy. When you're done, you can add a little bit of salt and pepper or Tabasco if you like. Serve it with biscuits. They advertised it in the papers. Another lynching today. It was its own show, card-mounted, gelatin silver printed, 2 by 3 7/8 inches. You got the simple noose, the strangle snare, the scaffold knot, the gallows knot, the hangman's knot, the reverse 8 noose, a loop tied with a knot at the end of a rope that permits the tightening and slackening and is used for trapping animals or hanging people. I bought this in Hopkinsville, 15 cents each. Little kids with lollipops. 30 minutes after Cato and Reed were burned. August 16th, 1904. Husbands and wives. Hair braided chestnut coiled like a lyncher's rope. This was made in the courtyard in Center, Texas. He is a 16-year-old Mexican. He killed Earl's grandma. She was Florence's mother. Give this to Bud, from Aunt Myrtle. Hang him, upside down. Cut him just behind the head, then cut him lengthwise down the belly. Split him right in two. Reach inside and take out all the innards. Then eventually, you'll have to cut him down from the tree you tied him in. Everyone is pointing at the person, at the tree. It was its own performance. What is being performed? Education, popular schooling to teach you your place. If lynching was its own performance, how do we perform freedom? How do we perform freedom during slavery? I wish I was in the land of cotton. Old times there are not forgotten. Look away, look away, look away, Dixieland. In Dixieland where I was born in early on one frosty morning. Look away, look away, look away, Dixieland. I wish I was in Dixie, hooray, hooray. In Dixieland I'll take my stand to live and die in Dixie. Away, away, away down south in Dixie. Away, away, away down south in Dixie. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Rocks, fist, bleach, belts, boots. Rocks, fist, bleach, belts, boots. Metal tacks with knuckles held in place with scotch tape. Leather belts with silver studs. Leather belts with silver studs. You know that cop? Which one? The one at my school walks around the school like he's the shit. Short fuck, carries a gun, hits the lockers with the nightstick, and he's always behind me telling me shit like, get to class, hope you're not as messed up as your brother. I know your family. He don't know shit. Got caught tagging in the second wing bathroom, and that cop got me written up as a gang member for no reason, because I got a tag name. We all got tag names, even the ones ain't in a gang. Kuka, Sinner, Casper, 1800s. We've had tag names since we was in the 6th grade, right? Right. And mama's been calling me gordo since I was a baby, so that don't mean shit. But now your name is on some paper somewhere next to the word gang member. I'm in class when the cop and vice principal come to get me, right? I'm sitting there thinking, oh shit, what I do, right? Right. They call me to the front of the room and ask me to empty my pockets. Empty your pockets. So I do. And I got a blue marker in my pocket, right? Right. The cop looks at me and says, this is contraband because we can't have markers at school. Now, why can't we have markers at school? Does that make sense to you? There's a classroom in the second wing with a broken window being held together with masking tape. There ain't enough money for books, but we got enough money to pay some punk-ass cop to worry about me and my goddamn blue marker. And then he tells me to turn around, right? Cuffs me, puts a pair of handcuffs on me in front of everyone, just like that, just like that. And I think they're doing all this for a marker, but I don't say shit, you know. Keep your mouth shut. Keep my mouth shut, right? Right. Then he takes me into the office, and that's when the cop tells me he's arresting me, and I'm thinking, what? But I still don't say nothing. Just keep your mouth shut. You see, I know better. The cop, he takes me and puts me in the back seat of his car. You know, I ain't never been arrested before, and I ain't gonna lie, I'm scared shitless. The cuffs around my wrist, pinching my skin, and my legs are right up against the back seat, and it's like I can't move, and I still can't believe this is happening. Put a pair of handcuffs on me in front of everyone. I can't move, I can't talk, I'm just sitting there. The cuffs get tighter around my wrist. I know not to say nothing, and the more I keep quiet, the more angry the cop gets. I can't say shit, but I'm thinking, fuck you, fuck you, fuck you, motherfucker, and I wanna kick the seat, but I can't even move. I still can't believe this is happening. Doors locked, slammed shut behind you. 8x4 cell, you a number now. It's how you will be identified. 1108080175. You gotta be careful, because when you get out, the cops will drop you off in rival gang territory. Make sure they all know you there. 1 strike, drug conviction. Your whole family gets evicted from the projects. 3 strikes, you're out. It's like they just waiting for you to fuck up. Luna, what you dream? Sometimes I dream of leaving. City seat, streets, concrete. Stop fighting, stop fronting, just be. Sometimes I dream of flying. I don't even know where to, just flying, my body outside this body, circling. I want to see where the horizon meets the earth. I want to dance against the sky, Gemini. When I dance, it's like I'm moving on water, ocean water so clear I can see the bottom of the sea, and I'm so light I can dance on top of it all, on top of the water, against the sky. That's why they call it the sea walk. It's like you walking across the sea. Your full foot never touches the floor, stay up on toes or back on heels and pray. Ocean waters carry me. I seen pictures, Gemini, of oceans that are actually blue. Water so clear you can stand waist deep, look down and see your feet. Not like any ocean I've ever been to. Light reflects off the top of the water and you can see the sand on the ocean floor. Sometimes I dream of flying. I don't know where I'm going really, but the ocean water, she'll carry me. Ocean waters carry me home. Gemini, yeah, Luna, you know, ain't no one ever asked me what I dream. I've always said that I think that poetry is the first language of our people. And I want to close with what I dream. And I really do believe and dream of freedom, not as rhetoric. And I've been working in New York with a campaign to around political prisoners, and there was a political prisoner, Russell Maroon Schultz, that was recently released into general population after being in solitary confinement for over 20 years. And so one of my projects is working with, he actually escaped, part of the reason he was in solitary confinement, he escaped the prison system 3 times. And one of the times in which he did it, it was an all-woman team that broke him out after the men decided not to participate. And I'm working on a project now of documenting the stories of those women. And you'll see what I mean when I say our first language is poetry. And so this is taken from an interview that I did with Ayana, a woman named Ayana, who was one of the women that helped free Russell Maroon Schultz. If I could tell one story about Russell Maroon Schultz, I would tell the story when he was in Huntington. He was at SCI Huntington. I would tell the story of how Musa got killed because they escaped. It was 1977, and word of them making a break was rumbling through the underground community we had. At that time, Pittsburgh was a hub. Pittsburgh was a hub if you were on the lam, for anyone that was a revolutionary, because we had plenty of places to hide you. I had a safe house. When they was trying to take Assata Shakur to Cuba, she was on the lam for 2 years, and one of the places she spent the most time was Pittsburgh. So Pittsburgh had a reputation. Some people stayed a week, some people stayed a day, some people stayed an afternoon. We heard the rumbles, somebody would be making the move, and it would be more than one. They caught Musa right away and killed him. They broke his neck. They broke his neck. They caught Abdullah right away. I'm not sure how many days, because see, Maroon had gotten away and was in the mountains and needed help. And people wanted to help him. The community of Pittsburgh were literally stockpiling food, leaving it in their backyards and putting water out for him. This man comes our way, we're gonna make sure he eats and gets some food. But Maroon, being a survivalist, he didn't need to depend on nobody but himself. Part of his reading, his research, was that he read everything on being able to survive off the land. So when he made his getaway, they didn't take much, and we knew that. I don't even know how we knew, but we knew we needed to stockpile things and try to get them to him. Maroon stayed in the woods for 26 days. We were just waiting for him to show up at the door. It was like the Underground Railroad. He lived off of turtle eggs and turtle legs for 26 days. He had turtle eggs and turtle legs in his pocket, turtle eggs and turtle legs in his pocket. And really, that is how he survived. Turtles only lay their eggs on land. The land remembers. This land that was once underwater, when this land was covered by ocean, Sky Woman fell to the earth. The animals swam to the ocean's bottom, gathered the dirt, put it on the back of a turtle, and that's how they created land. This land, Turtle Island, indigenous always. This land, was created on the back of a turtle. This land remembers turtle eggs and turtle legs. Turtle eggs and turtle legs in his pocket. And really, that is how he survived. Maroon is here today because a turtle gave him life and substance. Gracias.
One more time for Vicki Grise. Thank you and congratulations on the Immersion Fellowship. And Vicki will be back sometime next month to do her Immersion project. So thank you for being here with us tonight. That was wonderful. Can we give a hand for all of our performers tonight, please? Before I forget, Vicki's book is out there for sale by our partners at Majors and Quinn, an independent local bookseller. So buy from them without guilt of feeding an evil corporate machine. Thank you again to Browntown, to Josh, to DJ Knack in the shadows. What's up? Thanks to all of our readers. Thanks to Loft volunteers, to Asher, to Anna. We have so many great events coming up. We have the Mentor Series. Please check us out at our website, www.loft.org. If you're into Facebook and Twitter, we are on there too. Look us up. And thank you so much for coming tonight. Have a good night.